All right, so today we got the incomparable Aleksey one more time. So you have decided to grace us with your
Yeah,
presence one more time, one more day, one more pass. And I had
I felt that last time. I felt that last time was a bit. It wasn't too deserving. I felt
mm,
like I came in a bit too unprepared. Um, and I feel this time I want to provide a better experience. Let's say that.
like a true gentleman, always wanting to give a better experience after every go around.
Exactly.
I've always wanted to ask, why no beard though?
No beard.
Yeah,
Because I can't properly grow one yet. It
everyone
doesn't
says
look good.
that
I just
until they
shaved it
forget to
right
shave.
now.
I can
Like
tell.
just
That's what
before this, I popped out of the shower, shaved.
You definitely have that baby face look. That's why it caught my attention. But everyone says they can't grow a beard until they forget to shave a couple days. And all of a sudden, guess who wants to be Kratos, for the next couple months? So I'm just saying, you never know till you try. Maybe.
I'm thinking like the thing is I've tried growing it out for like a month, just a month to see where I would get.
Mm.
And it came out really bad.
Mm.
It
Patchy?
didn't come out nice. It came out very, yeah, patchy, and not really patchy, just very thin. Like you can see through it. You
Hmm.
see the individual hairs, and mm, like literally Shaggy's beard from the older Scooby Doo's.
Ideally, which beard would you like to have?
You know, I don't. I want to before I say anything. Ideally,
Mm.
I would like to see myself with at least some decent facial hair. Not
Okay.
like not like what I grow. So I'm thinking maybe in 2 years I'll probably be able to finally grow something substantial that I can keep on my face. But until then, I'm just gonna shave. Because look, I only shave once a week, so
That's a lot.
it's not really.
That's a lot.
It doesn't grow fast. Yeah, no.
Well, I guess every man is different. It's is as they say, right? Because it's genetics that
Yep,
predispose you to
dude.
follicle stimulation and things like that, right?
I think my Russian genes are strong in like that.
Mm,
I think my hair in general, because my grandpa also doesn't really have a beard,
really?
um, but he has more. He has like a very Russian facial
Mm,
features. I have a Russian baby boy face, or
mm,
I have the cheeks, the rosy cheeks, whereas he
mm,
has like a the the lines. He looks like a professor, and he is a
mm.
professor, but
Oh,
looks like,
appropriate.
yeah, he looks appropriate, but I don't know. Whereas growing up in South Africa, it was fuck, dude. Everybody expects a man to have a beard,
Yeah.
and most of my friends already in high school could properly grow a beard, and last time I went back, most of them had beards, and I I like at first At first, I cared a lot, and now I don't.
Mm. So they crushed your spirit, is what I'm hearing. They crushed your. You had hopes, and they were just like, and now you're
They didn't
okay.
crush my spirit. No, I just feel that for me, if I get a beard, it will take much longer because I do grow hairs. You know,
Yeah.
you've seen me with a
Mhm.
bit of facial hair, but fuck, I think just living in South Africa messed me up a little bit because all strong Afrikaans men have beards, and that's the standard.
Hmm. That's the standard everywhere, though. I'd say even here, like when you
Well,
have
yeah, to an extent, I feel like
no, like
people would
you get
like it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's the same only because we're in America. Is it like not as played? But I'd say it's just as revered. It's like if you're 12 and you're growing a beard, it's like man, that's a man over there. That's that man is being treated like a child for some reason.
I mean, I don't really care anymore because I like throughout when I was in community college, a lot of the correct demographic said that they liked me without the beard. So,
They
and
say
you know
that
what I mean
until
by
you grow
correct.
the beard. They say that until they
Well,
see you with
yeah.
the beard.
Let's just say this to end the discussion of the beard because like I don't know what else to add. I can't grow a
Yeah.
beard.
Yeah.
Um, if I get there, I get there, and I would like to see myself with a beard at least just once. And if it looks good, then I'll keep it. If it doesn't, then poop, clean shaven face for the rest of my life. I don't mind it.
Well, your resignation in the world of beards is sad, but I understand if you don't feel you can do something, you know, or yeah, unless you buy
I'm not
Rogaine
gonna
or something,
spend
I guess.
tons
Yeah,
of money.
yeah. I was gonna say
Yeah, no, fuck that.
unless you buy that,
Or
it works though.
testosterone supplements. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's interesting. It takes
I'm
6 months,
I'm
but it
not
works.
in any real rush.
No,
I'm
no,
not
of course.
in
Like
any
it's
real rush.
yeah. No, it's an aesthetic. What is it? Um, Indulgence. It's an aesthetic indulgence. By no means is it
Yeah.
necessary for anything. Like a man with game can pull with or without beard. Doesn't matter. I see that look.
That's important.
that's
That's
that's what that's
important.
that's what matters. Um. So.
You know, I honestly, for me, with in regards to that, to kind of transition this conversation a little bit, but
Oh.
um, for me, um, it's not really a beard or anything. For me, um, ever since like in high school, I kind of already knew that it was growing way too slow, and I tried a lot of things, but for me, the best like self confidence type of thing is not growing a beard, but being able to work out. That's really a lot of self confidence. It instills self confidence in me,
Mhm.
um, and I mean, with gyms being closed, and um, I tried running today, and I know that fell off the pinnacle of where I was in terms of fitness and self confidence. I fell far from grace because it was excruciating on my muscles. Like I could feel the fibers in my muscles strain, especially my right side, as you know. Um, uh, I yeah, I could feel the 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 creeping fatigue, especially on my right side and my right hamstring. Like at any moment, I felt it would pull, and I would just be laying laying on the track, just ah. in agony for a few seconds because
Interesting.
pulling a muscle is not fun.
Hmm. Did you stop?
What I did was I ran a lap at the track that my campus has is half a mile. So I ran one, and then the second one I started like I got maybe 3/5 of the way, about 3/5, and then there's a upward slope, and in that split second I decided let's go do the upward slope, but I'm gonna walk it. I did that, and boy, did I die. Just going up that slope, I I'm staggered at how unfit I've become, but it's just I need to get back on and train again.
Well, at least you're conscious of it. That's something that I notice a lot of people like creeps up on them. You know, one day they're jogging happily, the next day it hurts to walk to the car. You know, so at least you're not stuck in whatever that is, purgatory.
I feel that because like I feel that if I could get to a point where my stamina is decent for me to be able to run like 5 miles, a good 5 miles,
Mhm.
I would like to be there. I would like to get there. Um, Hopefully by the end of the summer, I don't. That's a goal that I'm setting for myself, even though that may be a bit reaching. But I'm setting that goal for myself. I would like to cut some fat, some face fat.
Mm.
Um,
Do you
yeah.
feel people reach for this or stop reaching for, some kind of healthy lifestyle when when they feel they've already how can I explain this? Like a married man, like when a guy gets married, for the most part, he gets fat, right? He stops working out and starts eating a lot more unhealthy. Um, do you feel that that's something that could happen to you? Maybe like you'll reach a point where you're satisfied with what you have, and
Oh,
you'll
it's
be like,
gonna happen.
Really, you're calling
No,
it
no,
now.
no. It's I'm saying this.
Mm,
I'm not saying exactly what you're saying,
mm,
but it's gonna happen where I stop and I reach for junk food and all that because I tried speaking to my girlfriend about this, but I guess she wasn't in the right mindset to talk to me about this.
mm,
But I had there's some backstory, but I came to a realization that I tend to reach for fast food as a coping mechanism, even though I know that it's shit. I
mhm,
know that it's bad. Um, but like I'm, it's weird because sometimes when it comes to food, I either don't eat at all, then I'm like severely depressed and sad about something, or or it's more of it's a creeping feeling where it's not on the surface. It's where I don't feel it on the surface and it's not immediate, but there's a creeping sensation of something. And usually, if I start leaning into that or giving that feeling the light of day, not by thinking of it, just by allowing it to overcome to overcome me. So whether that be just pure laziness or more like sloth,
mm.
then I reach for something. I don't really care anymore. Um, I do care, but I'm more susceptible to make bad decisions that will hurt me in the future.
Mm.
And this is probably because of something that happened in my childhood, where this one family friend lady, uh, she passed away sometime when I was still in high school. But
Mm.
in my childhood, um, was quite turbulent, and my my with my parents, their situation. My grandpa hated my dad. My mom was doing stuff. It was weird. It was just a lot of a lot of um, issues. So they kind of dumped me on this lady. Um, like after school, she would pick me up, and then she would get me, like in South Africa. Usually, it would be KFC. KFC over
Nice.
there is bomb, though.
Mm.
KFC over there, just saying, if you're ever in South Africa, that's definitely a thing, because KFC out here is not as good. It's not nice. Anyway, going back to that, she she would usually get me that after school, because there's no lunch prepared or something, and that's the general memories that I have.
Mhm.
And I would be coddled. I would be coddled from a lot of things, like after school activities, sports, friends. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird in It's weird in general in South Africa, right? Especially right now, to have kids, because everything is very isolated.
Mm.
Like if you make friends at school, great. Then you ask your parents to take you in their car, which is an isolated thing, and drive you freaking down the street. It can be down the street, but until a certain age, younger than something, it's not safe, or yeah, it's slightly different over there.
Yeah, no,
And
that feels
because
like
of
the
that,
opposite of what I grew up. Like when I was younger, I would be on outside a lot more often, and as I got older, I started to lean more towards can I get a ride instead of having to like walk over there. It's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess that's why it's just a long a backstory that made me
Mm.
feel like it just makes me feel comfort to an extent,
Hmm.
but a comfort of familiarity. There we go. Comfort of familiarity. And right now, I know for a fact that with my body, with what happened to me, I cannot. I don't. Just to put it on the record, that I had a stroke, as you know. So I've seen multiple therapists and uh, kinesiologists and neuro doctors and all that stuff. And a lot of the kinesiologists and therapists that work with that, they've emphasized the need for me to maintain exercise to an extent. Like I need
Hmm.
to. I realize now as well. I'm supposed to be in the fucking prime of my life physically, where I'm not, because of a few years of deterioration,
Mm.
especially, and I blame this especially on the work that I did, my jobs that I had. I blame it on that because like I can't do a job like that. I can't. A standing job, and I'm scared because I need money to. Everybody needs money, of course, but I need money to pay off debt and pay groceries because I don't want my mom to be paying for everything. It's a burden on her as well,
No.
and like the jobs that are available to me right now are predominantly standing.
Mhm.
Uh, and it hurt me when in the last few weeks or days of me being at my old place, my asshole of a housemate said, um, "Oh, you know what you guys should do to me and my girlfriend who studies film and media studies." He says, "You guys should start a startup." That's such a Bay Area thing.
It is. It
Um,
really is. Yeah.
and then he nonchalantly said, "Oh yeah, I made 80K last year,"
Doing what?
which is a lie. Which is a lie. Managing people, designing websites for companies such as Facebook.
Okay.
That's or something. He said something along the lines of that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm
I think.
I'm throwing out Facebook because whatever. Because he kept on saying, "Oh yeah, I'm working for YouTube," and then which is not the case. And now he's working for Kaiser Permanente, um, which I don't even know is the case as well. I just I don't believe anything he says. But
What would you
yeah,
start up
so
though? Like a
like
porn or
I just
what?
have to constantly maintain. Yeah, what can I start up with? How? Like the closest thing that I can do with a startup is we're bouncing around topics, but hopefully this seems fluid. But the closest startup thing that I can do is I have a friend, a French friend. He has a group, a small political group
Mm.
in France, and they're trying to get a seat in parliament. I maybe before I go to France, I if I do go, like I would like to go next year
Mhm.
to do like an internship there, predominantly environmental studies based, but also like uh, something to do with policy and politics. But if I can improve my French and uh, just learn a bit from him as well, and maybe network my way into that group, that would be cool.
You're trying to be a part of the what do they call it? The revolution or something like that.
The Gilets jaunes.
Revolution.
Oh, revolution.
Yes, that is that. You
What, the
trying to get it?
revolution?
Yeah, trying to get in on that.
What
Viva la
revolution?
revolution. Well, I don't know. It's French. They're always up to revolutions.
No, they're not. That's 17, 1800s France. Now, 21st century France is strikes. They love striking. That's what they call Tuesday. No, I'm kidding.
Isn't striking a different way of pronouncing quitting? Sorry, surrendering. That's
Ooh,
right.
ooh,
That's
ooh.
right.
That's a
That's
that's
right.
that's a contested one.
I
That's
hope.
contested.
I hope they can hear me. Damn French.
Damn you, French people.
Always quitting. Mm, interesting.
I can
Well,
like
speaking of government,
okay.
well, it's just uh, I tried to research on how far up the chain the Epstein event went, right? And
Okay,
it went as high
okay,
as presidents.
Epstein. Who? Yeah, Bill Clinton, obviously.
Yeah, but
He flew
even
he
Trump
flew with
though.
him 26 times. Trump has pictures with him. Trump said he wishes Ghislaine all the best.
Mm.
Like he tweeted that I heard that like a week ago, a week or two, I don't know, sometime this week.
No, but wasn't Trump
Um,
confirmed to have been on like the plane as well, at least once?
I don't know. I don't care. I just
Oh,
know that it's a high up thing,
yeah,
and
very high up.
it like to connect it further. Not to connect it. No, that's not the word that I'm looking for. Um, to connect these conspiracy theories or this type of the elites having like a ring of power hungry um, cabals.
Yeah,
I don't want to throw
for
that
lack of a better term.
word
Yeah.
around. Yeah, for lack of a better term. Um, and they can do what they want because sex trafficking is which Mr. Steen did
Mm.
um, is wrong. It's morally and ethically wrong and legally damning. But
Yeah,
he basically got away with it
for years. Yeah.
until yeah, for years and until like somewhere up the chain. Yeah, he was fine, but then when they felt that like he would squeal or some information would get out, then obviously.
Had to take him out.
But
Mm.
it also makes me think of I don't even remember when this happened, but the Panama Papers.
Okay.
Like so many, there were presidents and prime ministers and politicians that did have to step down. I remember I think the prime minister of Iceland at the time stepped down,
Wow.
and some European members of parliament high up. They even connected Putin shadily, but with Putin, ugh, things are weird. Like I don't know that you see that's another type of cabal of but instead of sex trafficking, it's a normal thing that cabals would do with money in a
Mm.
capitalist society. Whereas whereas the sex trafficking is basically just an indulgent thing to show, yeah, I have money and I can work around government. That's just a spit in the face of government.
Yeah, but when the people involved are so deeply part of the very government, they're spitting on. It's almost like they're just jerking themselves off by.
No, 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 no. Like all governments have a certain rule set of
Mm.
constitution that the members of the government um, they write up to say you will not do this, you will not do this, you will uphold this and this and this. It's laws and rights. And then once the heads of state commit such felonies or felonies such as treason, corruption, etc. Um, I think for same thing with Trump because what he's doing is unconstitutional by uh, sending out feds to cities.
Portland.
They yeah. Well, I heard that it's to other cities as well.
Mm. I've only seen Portland
I
and
wouldn't be
DC.
surprised if it's. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, me too. But I wouldn't
Okay.
be surprised if it's in LA and I think Dallas. It's also and Minneapolis and Chicago. Oh,
Dallas.
and New York. Holy shit! Yeah, I heard that Dallas or
Isn't
Somewhere in
Dallas already
Texas
on
is
on it? Isn't Texas already on his side? Why is he sending feds over there? It's kind of suspicious.
the cities are very liberal. Cities in Texas are liberal.
Really, it's so weird. Texas has always
Yeah,
seemed like
dude.
such a Republican. It's always been a red state.
Austin Austin is a very yeah, it's been a red state, but cities are islands of blue in that red.
Interesting. I wonder how they
Like,
keep.
for example, I heard that I think Austin is very techy,
Mm,
very techy.
good.
Uh, Austin, San Antonio, Antonio, Dallas, Houston. I don't even care. I don't know, but
But yeah,
this is
it's
this
there.
is like stuff I've heard for years.
Mm,
Like I've already known this since my ex, like
mm.
the first girlfriend I had over here, um, long time ago. I think we broke up like 2.5 years now.
Damn, you still remember? You gotta
Yeah, I
let that
remember
go.
because she's from Texas, and I remember stuff she
Okay.
told me.
Oh wow, interesting.
And and on the fact that I can't let that go, I
Mm.
couldn't for a long time.
Oh,
It took me it
nice.
took me like 2 years and a bit. Like only recently I'm like, yeah, I'm over her. I can say that truthfully. Even though there are still parts, deep, deep repressed parts that are like, pain. But it's more of regrets of myself and just learning opportunities.
Learning
Um,
opportunities is a gentle way of putting it.
yeah, and
That's
well,
interesting. Yeah.
it's a gentle way, but also a truthful way, I feel.
Well,
Because
they do say pain is man's best teacher.
yeah, I I've been connecting a lot of my thoughts with I've been listening to this one Joe Rogan podcast,
Which one?
the most recent one where he had a neuroscientist on. It's pretty
Oh,
interesting. Talking
um,
about neuroplasticity. His
yeah.
name is
Damn it.
Andrew.
Oh, I watched the one before that one. I think it was with Ben Shapiro. I'll watch
Yeah.
the latest one to catch up. I always enjoy his talks with Ben Shapiro, though. They seem to disagree and get along at the same time, and it makes for like a very good conversation.
Yeah, I know. I think Joe Rogan is a really, really chill guy.
Hmm.
Uh, because he's willing to talk to people who would oppose his views
Yeah,
unequivocally. Bleh.
unequivocally.
Yes, I don't know why I'm trying to add another syllable. Unequivocally.
It's a sign that you're getting old. It catches up with all of us. But
Yeah.
they brought up an interesting point. They asked the question was, how do you solve bad neighborhoods, right? Like, Joe Rogan mentioned he's moving to Texas because LA is just trash right now for him. Um,
But
and
where in LA does he live?
it makes you wonder, right? Like, you're Joe Rogan. Where do you live that there's hobos like on your street
I
close enough to
mean,
bother you?
I heard a bit of that because Ben Shapiro also lives in LA. According to that podcast, like I heard a clip about the hobo epidemic, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, I think cities are treating homeless people incorrectly. But the thing is, a lot of people they kind of forget that a real 0% poverty will never exist ever.
Right. Hmm.
In a capitalist system, it will never exist. Like if we tear down entire establishments,
Hmm.
the entire last 2,000 years of trading,
Right.
2,000 plus years of trading, then no. Then yeah, there would be 0% poverty. But in saying that, there are ways of alleviating not poverty, but alleviating the epidemics. Because right now, people are still clinging onto a neoliberal economic policy, which
Okay.
worked in the 70s and the 80s.
So the solution is not socialism or communism, is what you're saying.
I'm not saying that either. I'm
What?
I
Why
I'm
would
too
you not,
I'm
though?
I'm too uninformed to tell you
Oh,
exactly. Like
okay.
we have to go into a free trade, or we have to go into full-on 5-year plans communism. Like
Damn.
uh, what
Uh,
what's his name? Trotskyism. Go into
I
Trotskyism or Stalinism or Leninism or
imagine communism
Maoism.
comes
Let's go
back.
extreme.
Mm.
Well, communism is isn't it's always there. It's always a lingering thing. It's
But
always
I mean, to that
because
degree, I mean, if Russia went back to communism, that would
I
change
don't
the
think
ball
it would.
game.
I don't think it would ever go back to communism because of the economic incentive the that the
Capitalism
state
offers.
already provides. Yeah, but I can believe that it would become a totalitarian socialist state because it basically is.
Do you think, or oh, I don't know how well versed you are, but do you think China's slowly going from communism to
No.
totalitarian socialist?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you were going into something else, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really communist anymore.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's not really communist. Like under Mao, it was communist, but then
Yeah.
I
For sure.
think Chairman
Mm.
Ping relaxed a lot of economic policy,
Hmm.
where they established free zones.
Yeah.
So I think there it's untaxable zones of
Hmm.
industry and enterprise,
Hmm.
where Chinese people can open like open up and do
Hong
business. And
Kong
I
being the
think
main.
I think the Shanghai DAO or whatever opened in the 90s, and that incentivized people. But the thing is, they would never go into a more democratic system because of the party's efficiency at spreading its message, and also the light propaganda and its soft power that it's soft power that it's feeling out over the world, and it, it's a source of pride for many Chinese people. And I would say it's a whole another
But
it's a whole another
most of its power, I would argue, comes from what do you call it? Financial interest that the Chinese people slash government seem to low key offer the rest of the world. For example, probably the most obvious, and it's like probably the most criticized too, is the Chinese influence on Hollywood because of how much money Hollywood can get out of China. Movies are made completely different. Like they're not they're not made for the audiences in which they used to be made for. A lot of the times, like a good example is like a movie like Transformers. It's a piece of garbage. It's a sin against the art that is cinema, it did horribly in the United States, right? Like no one gave a
Which
shit
one?
about it.
Transformers: Age
All
of
of them,
Extinction. All of them,
especially
but
especially the last one.
specifically the last
Okay,
two, Age of
yeah,
Extinction and The Last Night.
yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
see the last one. I don't know the last
Yeah.
one.
No, you're right. I was gonna say specifically the last two did the absolute worst in terms of domestic history, but did the best in terms of
Chinese box office, yes.
and it makes me sad. It makes me sad because I go back to see 90s and further back movies, and there is an art there, man. That those movies were trying to make you feel something, remember something, and it's sad that I'm not saying it doesn't happen anymore, but I'm saying that's not the goal anymore for sure.
Look, China is definitely an economic powerhouse.
Yeah.
That's undeniable.
Hmm.
But the example you gave is a very, I would say, it's a very light one in in perspective of what China is actually doing in the world. Globally, it's taking over Africa, for example.
Yeah.
China is reaching out. Yeah, they're taking over Africa. They have they're slowly putting out feelers into Central Asia, the trade partners, obviously. I read recently something about disputes with Russia.
Good.
They're claiming the entire like Vladivostok, Vladivostochny Krai. I think
Mm.
that's the most eastern part of Russia where Vladivostok is. For example, when Vladivostok celebrated its 160th year of being a city,
Hmm.
China said, "This is a Chinese city. This is supposed to be a Chinese city."
Oh wow.
Um,
Everyone's speaking Russian.
and maybe to an extent, yeah, maybe to an extent it was, but honestly, there was like, I would say, in the region of, I have a world map, I keep looking at it. In the region of like Mongolia, China, Russia, that area, Kazakhstan, the Krai steppes,
The cry. Yeah.
swampy area. Um, it's a very mixture of people. There are so many ethnicities, and the Chinese are trying to like claim it. Chinese, Han, the Han people. But it's very nuanced. It's more nuanced than that, and I don't know. I, I, I don't know. But China is really They're helping out a lot of countries
Yeah.
by providing them with infrastructure. And in
Yeah.
certain cases, I think in one of the case studies I did for one of my classes,
Yeah.
uh, in somewhere in South America, I think. I'm not sure where exactly. I can't remember. Don't quote me on this, but I remember they were no, it wasn't in my class. No, sorry. China China is vying for power in the Pacific Islands as well, because Taiwan is vying for power there, because the Pacific Islands are their UN members and Taiwan is not, and Taiwan is trying to help them.
Hmm.
They're helping them by with small loans and small like investments and all these things, and China is throwing money at them, but they're throwing money in the wrong areas, because like they're building things that are useless. They're grand, but they're useless to those people.
Right.
Whereas Taiwan is kind of like working with them, giving them smaller amounts of money, but helping them. For
Hmm.
example, like building a port. Some countries in the Pacific Islands don't get that many many ship traffic. So China decides, yeah, let's build a billions of dollars poured. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be grandiose, and these countries are going to how like us instead of Taiwan. Whereas Taiwan is helping them in a different way, which could help the people, not not potential economic things, but things that would actually help the people. This being said, the reason why China would be doing this is obviously because they're laying claims to Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a long history about that. I can get into that a bit later if you want. But China is like they're demonstrating a lot of soft power. I'm saying this soft power where they throw out a bit of money. They make deals with developing countries like most of Africa, Middle East, Eastern Europe. Some parts in Europe are not safe. Like, I think it happened a week, two. I don't know how relative or yeah how current this is, but remember I think the British government said that they could take Hong Kong people defectors from Hong Kong
Yeah.
in just like that, and then the Chinese government criticized them. So I still remain. This is definitely my own thought, and this is from all that I've seen. I've come to a conclusion personally that if China manages to take over Hong Kong without the world doing anything, like I can imagine China taking over Hong Kong, but if the entire world, doesn't do anything, then we're entering we're already entering a Chinese era, but then we've entered the Chinese era. Then it will
Uh,
be the CCP.
didn't China already take over Hong Kong? Didn't a pro-China
No,
prime minister approve like several Chinese like infringing or Hong Kong infringing policies that let Chinese police do their job in Hong Kong, like start making
I'm
people
talking
disappear.
about when the protests are done. When
But
those protests are what?
I was gonna say, aren't they already making people disappear? Like keep people in the
Yeah, but
protests?
they're not done yet. They're not done yet. Once they're done, and the world doesn't say anything about it, and because legally speaking, Hong Kong is part of China,
Yeah.
legally speaking. But it, it's such a fucked up thing to say and to do. There's so many things like Hong Kong already. I think the deal was after 99 years, um, Hong Kong is allowed to govern itself up to I think 50 years, 20 years. I don't know, like for a good period of time, remain autonomous on the condition that everything like they can be integrated into China on the condition that they still keep their uh, their freedoms, their civic freedoms, their
Mhm.
economic freedoms, so that Hong Kong can basically be like a haven, but Chinese, fully Chinese. And I guess China was infringing upon that deal slightly in these kind of legal but not really ways. It's so I'm not 100% familiar with that, but I know that if that happens, because if that happens, then China is gonna set its eyes upon Taiwan. And legally in the UN, they're gonna want to kind of um, justify themselves. Yeah, like Taiwan has always been part of China, and
But
the
hasn't the
CCP, like
UN been historically impotent?
what?
Historically speaking, hasn't the UN been impotent?
To an extent, yes, but I'm talking about it. It does. Yes, in a to an extent, I will say. I'm not too sure,
So, to what
but
extent does China's presence in the UN really do to the
I
and
don't care about that. I just
mm,
say that if China takes over Hong Kong, which they're basically, it's already
right?
90% done, but there are still protests. There are still protests. I'm saying when the protests end and nobody does anything, and China goes, "Oh, Taiwan looks tasty," and then they engulf Taiwan as well.
Yeah.
Then what? Then the rest of the world. Then they're gonna take Vladivostok.
Damn.
They're gonna take the Kashmir region of India.
You think
They're gonna
Japan is
want to take
worried?
these places. I I
Or at least
think
nervous?
Japan would maybe. I think they're thinking about. I
Mm,
don't think they're
yeah.
openly saying anything,
Yeah.
but uh, I don't think things are off the table. But yeah, I don't know. China, it's an interesting. It's interesting with
I
China,
mean,
I would say.
historically speaking, it's weird to think that a small island like Japan managed to overtake one of the biggest like countries in the world by themselves and then some, right? Do you think Japan still has
Um,
it in them to do it,
uh,
to pull it off again, if they had to?
First of all, China back then is a whole different was a whole different monster.
Mm,
Um, I would say the China back then was a more dormant giant that was too slow to act and too incompetent to act. Whereas now they've learned from their mistakes. I watched this one video where it said that because we don't know much about like the culture in China itself. We know the culture in China portrayed by Westerners and Chinese Westerners, but not we're not in China.
yeah, we're not
And
allowed.
I do watch some YouTube videos of some like this one American and South African, by the way, who lived in China for a long time and now they defected because they were put in very difficult positions.
Mhm.
So they left with their families. So good for them. But I do kind of see a bit of like a little bit of stuff, and oh, it's shocking. It's interesting. Um, I I can link their channel names in the chat if you want. Um, would you want me to
Yeah.
before I continue? Okay, cool. So uh, sorry. Yeah. Uh,
Interesting.
China.
Hmm. So,
China
would you say that
has some.
Putin's place is basically given to him because it looks like if China tried to take Kazakhstan, he would say something. He would do something. He'd be like, "Yo, what was that? Say that again. Say it a little louder."
Wait, if China tried to take Kazakhstan,
Yeah,
then Putin
would say
um
something.
um
Or you don't think he would care? He's like, take it. I don't want it because he's pretty close with the people there. Like he's always taking pictures with the MMA fighters that they produce. Apparently, Kazakhstan is like very good with producing fighters.
Dag Dagestan.
Like,
If
oh,
you're
it's
thinking of
Dagestan. Yeah,
Dagestan,
you're right. Yeah, I'm thinking of Dagestan now that you say it.
that's a completely different area. That's well, it's kind of close to Kazakhstan.
I swear, if it's right next door.
It's not right next door. It's across the Caspian Sea. Like
Okay.
Kazakhstan is here, here, and then here's the Caspian Sea, and then here's the Caucasus Mountains, and then Dagestan is like on the foothills. So I think it would be like from here to if I give an educated guesstimate, maybe Phoenix, from here to Phoenix, or from here to Albuquerque. Kind of like I'm not sure. Around the one guy.
So
Uh,
you're not worried about any of this, though.
about what?
Uh, China's imperialistic grasp at world domination.
On a global scale, I am kind of worried about that.
Mm.
Like, once Hong Kong is gone, I'm learning Mandarin, dude. I am learning Mandarin,
You gotta communicate with your
or
Chinese
at least
overlords.
something.
You wouldn't learn
I
Cantonese
don't know, man.
just to throw them off.
Spite them.
Just spite them. It's like I speak Cantonese.
No,
It is
I think
Chinese.
just learning Mandarin would help because I for a fact China has gripped Australia
Tiny
by
book.
its nether regions,
Yes.
and they're holding on. Yeah, they're gripping them by those Australian tiny bollocks, and they're um, and they squeeze, they twist whenever they feel
Yeah.
Australia like steps up to try and
Or
threaten
something.
them.
Well, that is a big deal too because Australia is a major Anglo-Saxon country. You know, it's there's a lot of culture there that you know they
It's
have
not
this.
that. It's not that.
Oh,
Australia,
you don't think it's that? I'm sure a big part of that or
it's
part of
it's
it is that.
it's nothing to do with. Okay, maybe a part of it. That
I was gonna
that
say.
I'm not ruling out, but it's not that. I'm saying that China wants Australia under their payroll or under their thumb rather, because Australia is a giant source of raw materials, of uh, extractive materials. Australia produces the most, I think, copper, or not the most copper.
No, I
Uh,
thought that's China, isn't it? China has the copper ores or the
they
copper
have
deposits.
Australia has a giant, like they have massive mining operations, and most of their resources go to China.
Interesting. Well, which
Mhm.
makes which makes their uh, so there's no one in the world that would that needs them as much as China does. Is
I
that
wouldn't say that. I would say
isn't that just
China
because
is
a
the
lot of
better payer.
Isn't that just because China has the most factories? Therefore, they are in need of the most raw materials to, you know, keep them going.
Well, it because we're coming back to our dear friend Chairman Ping. I think he was. I'm not sure who the list of chairmans were, but let me check it out. Yeah, let me Google this. Uh,
You're about to learn everything there is to know about Chairman Ping right now.
um, okay, so I want to because we know everybody knows it's Mr. Pooh right now, Winnie the Pooh. Um,
Man,
uh,
that guy. He's damn.
uh,
He's. I've never seen
don't
someone
kill me, please.
so petty about. Actually, yes, I have. Why am I lying? Trump is like. They should change his name to Petty Roosevelt. You know, he's right. Like he's probably one of the most petty people in power. Second on or yeah, uh, rivaled only by Winnie the Pooh, chairman of China. Jesus. I guess this is what happens when two very petty people are in control of like the most powerful countries in the world. Jesus. Well, I hope this coming election shakes out differently.
Hopefully, hopefully, I don't know. Because Trump has tried because he says like China is our biggest enemy. He's tried trade wars and everything he does is stupid.
Yes.
Everything that he's done
Yes.
is has been so stupid.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
so the first constitution chairman was Mao, and then it was Liu Shaoqi until 69, and then Dong Biu till 75. Where, where is this fucking who like? I don't know. Like, okay, so Xi Jinping, and then P, before Xi, it was Hu Jintao, then Jiang Zemin. No, this doesn't make sense. Uh, like I'm thinking of the president who met with. Oh shit!
Who met with Ronald
Apparently,
Reagan?
there was an honorary chairwoman. No, no, no. The president who met with Nixon. There
Nixon.
was a president who
Yeah.
met with Nixon.
Hey, that was Kissinger that did all the work. All right, not Nixon. Hmm.
I think it was Li Shanyang. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Oh, okay, okay. So the paramount leader was Deng Xiaoping. So that's who I'm thinking of. Probably because the paramount leader was probably, yeah, because Deng Xiaoping. Let me see his picture, and then I can tell you because, like,
You know him on
yeah,
sight?
definitely, yeah, it's definitely Deng Xiaoping.
Bin Laden. Okay.
Uh, he was he um like started with a lot of not constitutional, but that economic thing. where he opened up China more, and he realized, oh, China has this massive labor pool.
Yeah,
Let's
using. Yeah.
become the world's factory. Let's
Yeah.
become the world factory. You know?
And that's exactly what they did. Uh, to this day, the dependence on China's labor force only goes up. I've never seen it go down. I've never seen,
However,
yeah, ever. Yeah, I've never seen
however,
any. Oh, there's hope.
however, on those videos, those two channels that I sent to you, the people
Mhm.
who were on the inside, um, they keep on saying like, China doesn't want you to know this,
They're
but
secretly gay.
yes, their economy isn't perfect.
Oh, what a surprise.
They're struggling.
Good.
There are internal conflicts. So either either China uses its soft power and hard power, soft and hard, whatever.
Giggity.
Um, yep, a raging boner and a very flaccid one. Um, and just waving that dick around.
Waving it around. Yeah.
Um, Uh, so either they will somehow get back at all the countries for taking over them 100 over 100 years ago,
Hmm.
because apparently that was their uh, decade or their century of shame.
Okay.
How first Europeans took over with the Opium Wars and all that,
Yeah.
taking land from them, and then the Chinese took over from an already weakened China, because China was weakened,
Hmm.
definitely. Uh, Japan could just waltz in and say, "Okay, this is mine now."
Pretty
Um,
much.
yeah, that's what they did with Korea, with the Koreas, and then yeah, there's a lot of factors that uh, come in play. So you can't just say it's this cause made this effect necessarily. This cause led to this effect, but not this thing led to that directly and nothing else. And it's
So,
not a linear thing. It's not linear. It's linear in terms of time, but there are multiple factors that like kind of like, you know,
yeah, tend to lead.
converge on that line. Uh,
So, so what you're saying is
I'm
it
gonna
is
get
yet.
some water. Can you hold that thought?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna get some water. One sec. Uh, I am I am parched.
gross.
Uh, do you think I should walk down the street to go get some katsu after this? I'm hoping they're
Definitely,
still open.
definitely.
If they're still open.
I'm sure they are.
No, fuck. I keep on forgetting that I have bacon in the fridge. No, gonna
I
fry me up
love
some
bacon.
of those bad boys.
How many? Okay, so bacon question unrelated. Do you like your bacon crispy or with a bit of chew to it? A bit.
Depends on what I'm eating it with.
Breakfast, eggs or pancakes, I guess.
Well, I don't eat your American pancakes.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I don't. Like, I think it's I think it's too much.
too much
It's too desserty. Yeah.
for breakfast.
There. Yeah, on Netflix, there's a thing that Vox explained. They're like, why is breakfast a thing? Why is breakfast so, especially in America, why is it so
Yeah.
desserty? Dude, I can't hear anything right now. I just hear the background sounds.
Wait, what?
There was like a crescendo of background um, noise. I heard Mira and I heard
Oh.
Spanish, and I couldn't pick up words.
Oh, that's interesting. I think my brain has like built what's it called? The counter resonance to it, so it gets canceled out by the time it reaches my perception. So I'm completely what's it called? Perfectly tuned it out from my conscious thought. And then
Wow,
so
that's good, but
to me, you've been speaking like perfectly clear, like through the loudness over there. That's interesting.
I heard it and I was saying something, but then when it came to a crescendo, then I just had to tell you because I've been hearing stuff throughout, but damn,
Yeah,
that
man.
last one was shit.
I didn't hear anything. To me, it just looked like you just lost your train of thought for some reason. I was like, hmm.
Why did this guy? He's just a dumbass, you know.
But
Yeah,
but
no.
the question is crispy or with some slight chew?
And my response is depends on what I'm eating it with. With
Ideally.
like a bacon, like
No.
okay, like on a burger,
Mm,
crispy.
mhm,
With eggs, with egg, like just bacon and eggs, just
mm,
like that, just that. Um, if it's sunny side up eggs, then I like it like um, I like it with a chew. Um, I like it kind of slightly crispy, slightly with the chew, like that medium. Not fully crispy though, not
yeah.
fully. Um, but with a bit of a chew. But I never like it with just a chew. It has
Oh
to
yeah.
have a bit of
When it's
crisp
like
at least.
yeah, when it's like chewing gum. Yeah, no. No, I hate the extreme though. Crispy. I hate meat, any kind of meat that's crispy. And you know how prevalent that kind of like cooking is in like Mexican cuisine. Uh,
I mean,
everything,
prevalent.
yeah, everything that's carne asada, like for the most part, is like cooked to that crisp that I hate. It's like I
That's why
can't.
I like
It's
carnitas.
burnt. Yeah, like at least that has some like I don't know what to call it because it's not undercooked, but it's just not that cooked for some reason. Uh,
So
Medium rare
Mexican
steak.
people, if okay, if I had to go to Mexico and I could only eat one type of meat,
Mm.
pork.
Oh,
No doubt in my mind,
with anything in particular?
carnitas, pastor.
Oh, just in all its forms, like whether it be taco or what do they call them, huaraches and anything like that. Any odd food.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I also like menudo. I like that.
Menudo's
I can't
okay.
eat
I wouldn't say I
I
like it
can't
though.
eat too much tripe. I can't eat too
Mm.
much tripe though. Like menudo, I can have a small bowl, but then
Mm.
if there's too much tripe, then it's like, oh, okay, this is too much for me.
Mm.
Then I start picking at my food, and because I've the only times I have menudo is when I go to LA.
Okay. Hey, I'm personally not a fan of menudo at all. I mean, I'll eat it, and I can eat it with confidence, but I will never ask for it if I have an option of something else.
Okay,
Literally
yeah.
anything else, yeah.
If there's an option, okay, if there's soup, the best Mexican soup for me is that I haven't tried much, but I like that. It's like no, it's not like menudo. It's the one with pork. I forget what it's
Pozole?
called. Pozole.
Oh yeah, that
I
one's
like
great.
that. That
Yeah,
that's
that one's
that's
great. Yeah,
bomb.
yeah, it is.
Menudo.
Yeah.
I like the hominy,
Mm.
but if there was a 50-50 between tripe and like a shitty cut of meat like tri-tip,
Yeah. Ugh.
or even better, 20-80, so
Mm.
20% tripe, like a little bit of tripe, just to get that chew, but then mostly tri-tip or sirloin
Mm.
or
Interesting. Uh, hmm. Do you like beans at all?
Mhm.
Really?
I date Mexicans, so I
I
mean,
hate beans. They're my least favorite food, and in all of creation. That I hate them with
wow.
such a passion. No, they are the worst. Uh, that's the worst thing I have to put in my mouth, and it is one of the most common uh, Mexican
Yeah,
that I've had to eat since I was little. But maybe it's because I had to eat it so much when I was little that I hate it as an adult.
probably,
Like, because my
probably.
mom hates smoothies, um, and she said that it's because when she was a little girl growing up, like that would be the only thing that she could make herself in the mornings before she like started her day, and like everyone else,
Interesting.
yeah.
I
So
think
and I love them. I love the smoothies. I ask her to make me one every day at least. And then she's like, so it's I guess life has one of those funny ways of like bringing you back to the thing like you hate the most because she makes it
pero
stuff on
mamá, yo
purpose.
quiero, yo
Yeah,
quiero.
yeah. No, she. It's to the point where I'll be like, "What's there to eat?" And she'll be like, "Frijoles" and nothing else. And I'm like,
Oh
"Why do you hate
God.
me?" No, she's lying. She never just makes it with like nothing else, but she says it just to because she knows that I have a disdain for it.
Okay, so like what part of beans? Like just bean in anything you
No,
hate?
if beans are mixed well enough with something else, like in what's the word? It's like rice and beans. I asked for it the other day. Uh, I'm such a dumbass. I just said it. Um, okay, well, it's a dish that's basically rice and beans, and then there's different variations, right? Some people add like a beef into it, or make it spicy, or with cheese on it. Um,
I
that
feel
I'll eat.
rice is such a connecting
Yeah,
staple because
absolutely.
except in Africa.
Oh,
Except in
really?
Africa.
That's weird.
No, we like maize meal.
What the hell is
That's
that?
that.
That's not that's
Um,
not Christian at all.
dude, I grew up with eating that pop. That's just what we call it, pop.
What is it though?
Maize meal.
Is it like a fruit?
Mm,
Is it
no,
a
no,
legume?
I'm talking about like a staple. So it's
Hmm.
not it's from corn.
Morisqueta. Sorry, I just remembered the name of the dish. It's morisqueta.
What? Okay.
Morisqueta. Yeah. Go on.
Okay,
Maize
so
meal. Yeah.
so maize meal, mealy meal, it's is a relatively coarse flour
Mm.
made from maize. Do you know what maize is? Like
Corn?
roughly like corn? Yeah,
Yeah.
corn. Much coarser than
Maize is
corn flour or cornstarch.
maize is a Spanish
Um,
word.
Maíz, yeah, I know.
Yeah, bitch.
Um, yeah, but I mean, people in America, like
Puto.
every time I say, sometimes I, I very rarely, but sometimes I do have the craving for pop. I have the
Hmm.
craving for it because South Africa.
You miss
Um,
home, so you
dude,
need a flower.
it's not flour like flour as in uh, were or flower. It's powder flour that you bake with.
Oh.
But it's much coarser than corn flour or cornstarch. made from maize, which is known as milis in southern Africa, from the Portuguese milho. Milho? Okay. The
Sounds about
Portuguese
right.
had originally brought corn from the Americas to Africa. It is a food that it was originally eaten by the voortrekkers
Hmm.
during the Great Trek, but now it's such a thing
It sounded
that
German.
the voortrekkers,
Yeah,
the
sounds German.
my
Doesn't
some
sound
of them,
German?
no, it's Dutch.
Ugh, the Dutch.
The voortrekkers. They're basically the Dutch are just swamp Germans. So I mean,
Oh,
in
technically,
a
yes.
roundabout way, you can say, yeah. And
Does it,
yeah,
sounds
and the Swiss are mountain Germans, and the Austrians are gay Germans.
it. Have you ever heard the word spreken?
Sprechen?
Spreken.
Like how is it spelled?
Uh, Sprikeen, I believe.
Sprechen?
Yeah.
No.
Or sometimes instead of a K, it's a G, so it's spreken.
Okay, if it's I know the word sprechen and spriggen.
Oh,
So
what's
spriggen,
spreken?
which
Yeah.
is spriggen, is a type of like fairy type of thing
Yeah.
in Cornish lore. They're fairies, but they're more like these dryads and stuff. And then
Yeah.
Sprachen is in German because we were talking about German stuff for a
Mm.
split second. Um, Sprachen means just speaking. Gesprach of ja, gesprachen.
To sprach.
Gesprachen.
You seem to know an awful lot of Germanic linguistics for some reason, Mr. South
Slightly,
African
slightly.
Russian. Why? Why? What
I
caused?
let me say this. I'm not an expert in anything.
Mm,
I'm trying to become an expert in my field,
mm.
obviously. That's why I'm studying it. But I wouldn't say I'm an expert as of yet in anything, but I know a lot of like generalized things. I would like to improve my mechanics knowledge though. I don't have much when it comes to that.
So
Uh,
you know the concept behind like a combustion engine, but you wouldn't be able to fix it if it broke down.
I know yes, to an extent. Yes.
Yeah, right.
I know roughly the
Yeah,
basics to a
the gas
combustion engine.
explodes, moves the piston, right?
Hmm.
But if it broke down in the middle of the road, you
I
open up
would
the
be
hood,
fucked.
and,
I would be fucked. If I
you're
open
like,
up the hood and it's steaming, I would be fucked.
dang.
Um, that's why, like, before I buy a car on my own, because I know I had a car, but back then, like,
It was magic
I
to
was
you.
back no back then I was still I still used to work almost full time and study full time. So
Okay.
like I know back in community college it was hell. I would say even more so was 2016 and 2017. That was
Mm,
hard. Those were 2 hard years for me.
mm.
They were good, but I think like I'm still facing repercussions. Like my body is still
From those years.
from work, yeah, and
Okay.
from the overexhaustion. I do remember in 2018 though, when I used to trade more, I did do decent on trading, but then one day my dumbass decided, you know what? Let's go for this. I went like I took a bull. I went. Okay, let me explain. Let me ask you this. Do you know what a bull and a bear is in terms of stocks?
I know that there are different methods of investment or styles of investment.
Yes, and basically the main two are bulls and bears.
Yeah, and the thing about United States is that it's a bull market, right? Or that's
That means it's a bull in marketing terms and investment terms is basically you're seeing an increase in the market, and a
Hmm?
bear is the opposite. That's it.
So you're like, oh,
Anyway,
this is going places. You
I
went on.
fucking yeah, I went for a bull thing, but I did a dumb thing. I did a trading option.
Hmm.
It was supposed to only be a day trade. I lost 100 that day, and then I thought it's still gonna go. Things are looking up. Tomorrow it's gonna be better. I should have sold it right then and there. I
Hmm.
didn't. I waited. The next day I lost. I think the most I lost was 700. Back then, with still right now, it's when you're when you're not making when you're a paycheck
That's
to paycheck type of
a
living,
shit ton.
then it's a lot. Yeah,
Jesus.
that's where yeah because fuck I would say my money in like while was working not in college but before or when I was at community college, my money went to partly girlfriend
Nice.
expenses, like we go on dates and stuff, partly going out buying drinks, partly uh, food for myself, and a lot into like stocks,
Hmm.
a lot into, well, a decent amount into stocks, I'll say. A lot into um, just stuff, just stuff, honestly. That's, and yeah, when I start working again, I would like to save most of my money and then start investing again. But I'm gonna be more cautious on day trades.
Hmm.
Like if I do day trades, then I would only do it like once in a while because apparently, but I don't know how the economy will work or the markets will work in like the next 10 years. But I heard that Warren Buffett betted a lot of Wall Street people like 10 million, saying that just investing into the stock market is much better than day trading or than speculating.
Hmm.
And he won after like a certain period of time.
Yeah,
So
of course. Yeah.
I'm going to, yeah, but the thing is, I tried day trading in order to get enough capital so that I could invest in decent stocks like Facebook and Amazon. Dude, do you know how much an Amazon share is or was when I was
Uh,
trading?
when you were trading, what year was it?
2 years, no more than 2 years ago.
So like
I think it's still mm,
six
without
hundred
with
something?
no,
Oh,
basically triple that.
oh,
Yeah, that's one
uh,
share of Amazon stock. I just
and
want
that
to
was
see
back
how much.
then.
I don't know how much it is right now. If
Mm.
it's two, oh,
Oh, that's the look of a man
Lord,
that
it's
regrets.
$3,000. No, I
Jesus.
don't regret anything. I never could afford one share in Amazon. Never.
Yeah,
The thing is, if
3,000.
I could, I would say, dude, fuck, holy shit, invest in Amazon for the long run. For the long run.
Yeah, no, of course. And
But the thing
Tesla
is,
seems to.
Tesla, when I was checking, it was in the 300s. So now it is. Let us see. Oh, and they're on the Nasdaq.
Right?
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Tesla's in the
Oh
it's in the
my
stratosphere. They're in a different
god!
ballpark right now. Yeah, they shot up. I've seen. Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. Let that sink in. Yeah, let that
Oh,
sink in. It went from basically like affordable to yeah, it's something else now. It's a
to
beast.
to Amazon.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Amazon 2 years ago, and now
yeah.
Amazon is here. Fuck. I wish I had that capital. I wish, like, if I
Yeah.
had that capital, I would have definitely bought Tesla long time
Would,
ago.
would you
I
have?
once had Tesla. I once had a Tesla stock, but the thing is, my finances at the time, I always had to take out a bit of money from my portfolio. So I never could keep, I never could keep this money. I was living paycheck to paycheck. So, like, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, first accumulate enough capital. I would say if you have $1,000 to just you hold $1,000, you save it, not even in your savings account. I would say, like, if you have liquid money like 1,000, then you could then you should put it into the stock market. And then, but like what I'm planning to do when I start working again is to take like a certain percentage, let's say half of my salary. Half of my salary is going to be saved, and half of that 50% is going into savings, and half into liquid money, so that once I have enough capital, I'll put it into that. Anyway, yes, going back to the mechanic thing. Um, yeah, I would want to sharpen my skills on that. But what was the question you asked me before like, oh yeah, the linguistic thing about German linguistics.
Yes. So you seem to know. You
I
have
wouldn't
some kind of.
I wouldn't say I know much about German because I did take it like in South Africa in fourth grade a bit.
Mm.
Mm.
So, what's the word? You don't sprechen Sie Deutsch anymore?
Ich haben de Kenne, ich haben eine Kenntnis, but I can't like say much. I know a few words, and like because I know Afrikaans and to a lesser extent Dutch, to a much lesser extent. My Dutch knowledge is I'm conversational with Dutch people because my Afrikaans comes out. Like as soon as I talk to Dutch people, I try, like, I put on a weird accent. I feel that I try to speak Dutch, but it's just Afrikaans with the Dutch accent.
Oh, interesting.
Um,
Hmm.
but then with German, because of word structures in Dutch, because Dutch has more rules than Afrikaans, but there's residual linguistic patterns. Then it's easier for me to learn German. But um, I don't know much about German. I would like to I would like to know a bit of German, but I mean, right now I'm watching two German shows on Netflix. So that's the main reason why I would like to know German.
But Dark is one of them, I imagine.
Hmm. And
And
the other one is Babylon Berlin.
hmm,
My
Interesting.
girlfriend introduced me to it. She's really into German stuff. If she, like, we've spoke about this, and like this is completely true. If she could live in a time period, she would want to live in the Weimar Republic
Why?
because that's her aesthetic. She
Oh,
loves, she loves, she loves. Uh, what's that? There's so many good movies that came out of that. There's so much good culture, except obviously the economic situation was shit. But the cultural situation, it was good, and things were looking up for Germany. And uh, back in the late 20s, and it was actually they had a lot of progressive ideas, but they were poor to enact it. And I know
makes sense.
what's that? I remember watching this movie with my girlfriend, Weimar movies, and she
Interesting.
also likes the. She loves. Wait, I completely forgot the names of some of the movies from the Weimar Republic, but there's like if I say some of them, you'll like go, oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Interesting.
Um,
Because when it
I'm
comes,
still looking at the Tesla price and holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah, I know, right?
Metro,
Such,
Met, do you know Metropolis? Have you heard of
yeah,
Metropolis?
yes, yes.
I've seen that.
And
I've seen
wait,
that.
which one? The Japanese remake, anime remake, or the original German black and white piece?
Original. Do
Okay.
you know how they found that? Do you know how they found um, Metropolis? They found it at a
Mhm.
weird garage sale in Argentina, and most of it was is destroyed.
Mm.
It's almost a 3 hour movie, and it tells a good story. I'm kind of like, it's not really my thing.
Mm.
If I have to be 100% honest, but I see how she likes it. It's pretty cool
Mhm.
at how the set designs and the ideas of everything. It's so cool. But yeah,
Um,
um, there's so
interesting.
much culture that was lost. Oh yeah, and have you heard of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari?
No, that one sounds completely different.
Um,
Interesting.
it's it's silent horror film.
Silent horror.
It's
Now
one of the
that's damn. That's right up my alley. I like horror movies.
26th February 1920. It's 74 minutes long. It's a silent film. Its budget was only 12,371 apparently,
Only,
but
huh?
the box office was 4,713. So it didn't do too well, I'm guessing. But
Interesting.
yeah,
Well, speaking of such
I
things,
think a lot of yeah.
no, I was just gonna ask. Do you think there's any truly supernatural elements in this world that we live in? Like I don't know, religious texts that might have some historical uh, note of consequence. Like, for example, the Ark of the Covenant was supposed to take out armies, right? Uh, at the same time, the Hindus have a story of this thing called the Brahmastra, which in description seems to do almost the same thing in terms of wiping out uh, people. Um, its
So
origin is roughly the same, like weapon
this is
from the
a
gods.
dusty dusty, but I think I think there's a lot of correlations in mythology. Um, there are a lot of correlations in mythology across cultures. I feel um, being human being human is a very common thing. And my favorite story. This is a story. This is not spiritual, but this is a story that may have been perceived as spiritual at the time. Have you heard of? Have you heard of? God, what's his name? Holy shit, I'm blanking.
Zeus?
Um, no, it's older.
Older? So
Older than just. It's
like
from
like Epic of Gilgamesh old?
uh, Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh. That's my
Gilgamesh. Oh,
favorite.
okay.
That's my favorite legend. The Epic of Gilgamesh is my favorite um, epic that I've
Yeah.
ever heard.
No, it's credited as being the
I
first
love it. I love it so much because of
hero story, right? It's the first archetype hero that we have so far written in history, like in written format, anyways.
it's interesting because that was back in the days that writing was mainly used uh, to count
Stock.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep stock.
so that was one of the first evidences of writing being used as something
But
creative.
the
And I
real
think
question
that's a very
the real question is though, how did unconnected peoples arrive to the same ish legends? I think that the best and most mysterious
I
example is Aztecs, Mayas. Like they have a lot of like similar, very similar. Like Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, looks an awful lot
mhm.
like the Eastern, version of a dragon. Um, that maybe you can explain the pyramids in terms of like, well, it's an easy structure. It makes sense that given the technology available, like they arrived at the same conclusion just because it's the strongest
I
and
think it's
easiest shape,
what's
right?
important to add. What's important to add is it's a strong shape. That's important.
But the question is not the shape; it's the stories and their peculiar similarities. That I think that's more
I
important
think that
because
as
I
I
went.
said, there is sorry. I we keep on talking because like my connection is unstable, so I think you're paused, and then yeah, when we talk, so just say what you want to say, and
Oh,
then say like if you're done.
Roger. um, so but going back, so from what I understand, you do not believe in the existence of any, uh, for lack of a better word,
You're breaking up.
magical artifact.
Okay.
Roger.
What about the magical artifact?
Oh, that you don't believe in the existence of anything supernatural in that sense. No mystical books, no spells, no rings,
Oh,
nothing like that. This world is exactly as observed and predicted by the periodic table of elements, which is, I think, the best tool ever created in terms of predictability.
I would say that's fair.
Hmm.
I think, yeah, of course, like it's good to add that. I think having that predictability is good, and there's still a lot that we don't know,
Mm-hmm.
even about our world.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that even if we can for sure say that, yeah, this is baloney. Um, I think you like as if you're a scientist, then you should still have that a healthy amount of skepticism in everything, just
Uh-huh.
to like just to disprove yourself, to see like, okay, if this theory went south, why did it go south? So like, I think it's good to think like, yeah, okay, this is this there's correlations and there's spirituality. I think um you shouldn't discredit that or discount it because uh fuck, there's so many unexplained things that
Mhm.
occur in the world. So you never know. You never know. There's like most of the time, I would say 80% of the time I am no, most of the time. Most of the time I'm like, no, this bullshit, all these spiritual things. But then
Mhm.
like part of me is like, what is the point of life then? Like,
Mhm.
why, why did such a random event as the Big Bang occur? Like, is there a reason? And if there's
So,
no reason, then what's the point in anything, living?
so let,
What's the point of animals having that instinct of reproducing to carry on genes? Why is there that instinct, you know?
well,
And
let's
why is that the
pretend
part of nature?
I'm a atheist, right? Uh, and I said something to the effect of, um, it has no point. It's just that self-replication is embedded into the biology of living things, literally. Uh, every living thing, all it wants to do is replicate itself. And if you're asking, well, why is that? Then the easiest answer would be because the environment influenced the genes to be expressed in that particular method.
But then why would the environment have that influence? Why, what's the purpose of the environment being the way that it is? Why could it
Well,
not have been a sterile
it could.
condition? Why
It
can
is.
the world, why couldn't the world be uniform?
There are planets in our solar system that answer that question better than I could. Uh, Mercury, Venus,
Yeah,
the
but then
planets are as you described.
why this Earth, why this Earth, why this planet specifically has life on it,
Well,
whereas
it's because specifically the law of probability. Every as they say, Murphy's law. Every variable that is possible has to occur at an instant somewhere in the universe, right? So if it is possible for a solar system to be created with our specific configuration, then it makes it we're just conscious and it feels like we're special, but we're just the probability of dice rolling, and we are the product of that result. Whereas in another solar system that's very similar does not have the result that we call life on it. But it's just probability. It just feels special because we live in it. And as a rule of human biology, self delusion is a gift of natural selection.
why do we have that self delusion?
Survival. It helps us survive. Self delusion, another word for that you could say is visualization, creativity, able to imagine things that aren't real. That's how we get innovation. Like a monkey looked at a rock, but instead of seeing a rock, thought, if I could shape that stone differently, it would help me better to finish this task. Like even right now, what's kind of creepy is that it's officially confirmed that monkeys or the other lesser great apes are entering the Stone Age. Uh, yeah, yeah, it's really interesting to see them like work out.
How are
Uh,
they
they're
entering
starting
the
to use
Stone
tools.
Age?
Tools. Tools. It is there has been an explosion of apes slash monkeys starting to use um, deliberately made tools made of stone. So the Stone Age has begun for them.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
it's
then
terrifying.
why have ape together strong?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, watch. They're gonna talk English and everything. We're like, what the hell?
Not in our lifetime though, unless
Yeah, right.
unless unless some scientist named James Franco
Makes that
gets
neurogenic
gets
virus.
one gets that one chimp named Caesar
Caesar.
and Caesar.
Man, that's probably my favorite
Uh,
movie out of all the three. Yeah, out of all three of them. Surprisingly enough, that's yeah. James Franco's is probably the most heartfelt. If you ask me, like, damn, when Caesar turns him down because he felt abandoned by him at the
oh,
yeah, I was like, oh, that's harsh. And
I
then
haven't
like
seen
the
it in a while.
I should rewatch it, especially the last or the second one, where
Dude, I haven't seen the other ones. I haven't seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes, The Return of
there,
the Apes, The
there's a
Reckoning
scene.
of the Evolution of the Apes.
The apes return Boogaloo number two, something like that. No, there's a scene where
Yeah,
Caesar's hurt, and Caesar and his son and some other apes and some
but I'm
humans
gonna start making food because I'm fucking starting to
starving.
starve. Yeah,
It's
sorry.
it's good. No, it just means you're human. It's good. Um, they start they take refuge in a random house, right? And it happens to be Caesar's old house. And there's a videotape there of Caesar as a baby chimp learning like very basic like words and little exercises. And the human,
Mhm.
the guy that's with Caesar in the moment, he's like, "Who was that? Like that's you, right?" That he recognizes Caesar. Caesar just says, "That was a good man, like you." I was like, damn, that was deep. I felt that. James Franco's best
Damn.
performance. Uh, Definitely better than Spider Man. Man, that was trash.
Oh, when he
What
was thingy, the
about,
Goblin Boy.
well, yeah, when he was Harry Osborn. There we go. Those movies are so like beloved as like the best Spider Man movies, but I don't know. I don't like uh,
I like
uh
Tom Holland. He
to-
makes. He is a Spider-Man.
Toby. It's because Tobey Maguire seems too
He is
like emotional.
Spider-Man because like he's all. Oh, Tobey Maguire is an emotional guy,
Yeah.
and he's. I would say, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is gay Spider-Man, and but he had soft lips. He had very soft lips.
Extremely soft. Way too dramatic.
Ooh. Um, and
What
then
did you think of
Andrew
James
Garfield was
Garfield?
a
Yeah,
crap.
he
James, you mean Andrew? Andy?
James Garfield.
Andy boy?
James Garfield is Captain Hook from Peter Pan. But yeah, Andrew Garfield.
Really?
Yeah,
I did,
Andrew
that's
Garfield.
something I did not know.
Um, you're right. Andrew Garfield blames his writing though. He was actually a fan of Spider-Man, and he's like, I didn't have good lines. I could only do so much. But I did like
Yeah, but he
this.
was too. It was too much of a confident Spider-Man, and that's not
That's true.
that's not
Yeah.
who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
is a nerdy, shy guy
Yeah.
who like stumbles upon this, and Tom
And
Holland
he's
has
witty.
done really well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
thing
he's
about
witty. He's
Spider-Man.
witty in the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing about that I don't think Andrew or Toby captured. It's like Spider-Man's wit. You know, he has like he's sassy like a teenager because he is a teenager, you know. So he
You see, I think because first of all, Andrew was witty, but he wasn't awkward. Whereas Toby was awkward, but he wasn't really witty. And Tom is both. I think there's more to it, obviously, but those elements are also important.
I heard that Marvel is never going to get the rights to Venom to do their take.
Dude,
Spider-Man.
the fucking what's his name? The movie was trash. I didn't like it at all.
It was it was very not accurate to any version of Venom, I don't think. Which is whack.
Venom is a good guy, apparently.
Or
Question
Venom
mark?
Venom eats organs. You know, that was kind of weird. And Venom's like the other symbiotes are evil, which is weird because Venom comes from a planet of heroes. The only reason Venom is antagonistic is because he just he specifically hates Spider-Man in particular. But that's why Eddie Brock is like a fan favorite, because he does do heroic things now and then. It's just Spider-Man that he absolutely hates. But that was interesting. Well, but it is what it is. I guess it's, you know, in this world where things are decided by who owns the rights to things, we get what we can get, I guess.
I'm gonna turn off my video because
Yeah, all I see is your chest.
Table. Yeah. I turned off my video though.
Interesting.
Weird. How do you see my chest?
It's frozen in permanent chest protrusion. Well, I mean, I'm not
permanent nipple view.
I mean, I'm not complaining, but this is a child-friendly show, so I'm gonna have to blur out your testicles.
Yeah, my testicles.
So you're making food.
Can you hear
right
the sizzling of the bacon?
I was gonna say yes. I can hear the sizzling. What are you gonna make them with? Or are you just gonna eat straight up bacon?
I'm fine, because I think my connection is anyway forcing me to wrap it up. I don't know.
I noticed.
It could just be a glitch, and or
no, like the audio is stuttering quite severely. I think the computer
right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
If you want, we can abruptly finish this one, and there can be more discussions in the future.
I hope so. But yeah, this seems like a natural conclusion.
Up to you.
Any final words you'd like to give your adoring fans? Any comments about your nipple rings? Anything like that?
At the moment, not really. They help, some later right now. So where anti-maskers are being assholes.
The audio was so bad. I didn't understand that at all, but I will translate it in the description later on. So enjoy your bacon, sir. You deserve it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I will talk to you later then.
All right, man. I'll see you.